Alright, now I have audio. What's up? This is Dave. This is What's Up Dave, my daily stream where I catch up with my friends on the internet, discussing topics such as design, programming, making money, side hustles, anime things, toys, whatever happens to be on my mind. And today on my mind is yesterday's completely unproductive day. I had written down all these things I had aspired to do yesterday. Not big things, mind you, but just things that I thought that I had the fortitude, the grit to follow through and do. And no, it didn't look like a whole lot happened. So let's just take a quick look at that. Let's go to camera 2 here. Boink. So, well, let's get this thing down here. So what do we got? Get some light on this too. So yesterday, around when I was doing the stream around noontime, I had made this list of things. So take out the recycling, which I actually did do. That was a big pain in the ass. Checked in with Ben, which I did. Did not work on any Patreon stuff, any Happy of Old Time, or review. That would be the stuff that would actually be worthwhile to do. Instead, I made lunch, and I did do some experimental pizza making, trying to roll out dough instead of hand shaping it, which gave me some insights into the way that the gluten forms and the way it bubbles up. So I guess that was productive. But then I took this big long nap, and this long nap here is entirely because I didn't feel like working on something. I can sort of sense now when I'm sleepy because I don't want to do something. It's a different kind of sleepiness than actual true tiredness. I did review some code stuff with Ben, which was useful. I need to actually bill for that. I should write that down. But then the remainder of the stuff really was not that tremendously great. So after that nap, I did tidy up the kitchen. And then I watched a movie called, I think it's called Free Fire. It takes place in this warehouse in the 70s, and it's just a bunch of lowlives shooting at each other. Kind of interesting. Then I had a late dinner and I surfed social media for a while. Made a bunch of lists of things to do, but I think that the general takeaway from yesterday was I didn't do the hard work, and this has been a problem I've been facing for the past month, if not 2 months. Just having the wherewithal, the ability to push through these, whatever this resistance is. And it's annoying because I'm in this period of time that I don't have any projects that I'm working on for other people. So theoretically, I should be working on my own projects. And what I seem to be doing is doing everything but doing those things that will pay off financially in the future. And this makes me question my competence, my worth as a human being, a whole bunch of things like that. And so that's what I want to talk about a little bit today. It's going to be kind of a boring, introspective thing. Today, if you don't like that kind of stuff, this is a good time to tune out. Then I'll get to planning later on today, but I don't want to go on too long about this. Let me just quick check sound, just make sure that this is working. How do I do that? Then I'll get to planning later on today. Yep, okay, the sound seems to be working. All right, so first thing, as I wrote down in the chat window that you can see to the right, is that yesterday was super productive, and I have a theory about that. I've been doing a lot of emotional processing, and by that I don't mean like I'm running around wringing my hands, the sky is falling. I'm just thinking a lot about how I feel about things. And yesterday I was not feeling very good. Not in a debilitating I hate the world sense. And not even like I just feel tired or anything like this, but it was a kind of unsettledness. Partly related to identity, partly related to purpose, partly related to where I fit in with things, partly dysphoria. A lot of thoughts swirling around. And it occurred to me that the discipline that I need to develop is not this mythic, powerful, like, I am going to have laser focus and I'm going to drill in on this thing and nothing will bother me. I mean, that's kind of the end state that I want. and figuring out how to get to that end state by navigating this morass that is my brain is, I think, maybe the big challenge. And one of the challenge things is I let this emotional processing go on. I let myself think about things. A more unkind way of putting it would be to say that I let myself dwell on stuff. And I dwell on stuff a lot. Hey, Amish Furniture Factory. Is that actually an Amish Furniture Factory? I should check that out. Let's see. I forget, like, what was Amish Furniture Factory's name? Is this... I don't remember. Anyway. Remind me if you hear this. So, like, I let myself emotionally process. I let myself dwell on things. And there really is no reason to do it, other than it just happens a lot. So I think one reason why I surf social media so much and I'm always looking for things that are joyful is it gets me out of my head. It gets me out of this place where I'm just thinking about thoughts all the time. And there must be some way of doing that. Happy Bubble Time is a way of harnessing the randomness so I'm distracted from being aware of myself. Maybe that's the key, just not to be aware of myself. I think I might write that down. Let me switch over to the screen over here. And this is worth the while running a perhaps emotional processing that I do, e.g. thinking about myself in context with everything and everyone is the major barrier to my productivity. If I could come up with a way to reliably get out of my own head, and I remember people have told me this in the past. Old, wise people have told me this in the past, but I was too young and stupid to really understand what that meant. This could be the key to my discipline. In other words, not to think about redirect my attention, focus elsewhere. So if I think about myself, then I get like upset. Again, not like verklempt or like really like anguish, but it's just like I'm always wondering, like, what if it was like this? What if I was like that? What is important to me? What is important to other people? What's important relative to me, relative to other people that we have in common? That what is it that prevents people from coming together? I'm always constantly like thinking about these kind of things, and which gets me to my next point. Actually, did I not write it down? Well, one of the things I had intended to write down was that I wonder if I am more emotionally driven than most people who want to be productive. And so that could be the unique, squirrely aspect of myself, where I don't relate to other productivity systems. That's probably worth writing down too. So let me go back over here and just add it again to this list thing. I may be more emotionally processing oriented than most people who are interested in being more productive, prolific in their creation. So a productivity system that works for me would take this into account, would teach me how to control the emotions. And the idea came to me when I was thinking about people who suffer from depression. I would say I'm borderline depressed right now. Not in that, like, I'm not feeling super excited about anything. I'm just kind of trying to maintain an even keel and not let like this kind of gloomy feeling pull me down. Because I don't want to be pulled down. I know that people who suffer from clinical depression And well, I know secondhand that like they can take certain medicines that I guess like they do things to their emotional processing state, so it dulls everything out. So I don't experience it super intensely, but certainly I think I do experience it. And there's days which it's very hard to get out of bed. There are many days in which like I'm wondering like is it worth doing anything at all? This kind of existentialist angst about what my purpose is, what I'm good at, how do I relate to things, how do I know if I'm not wasting time? And I have answers to most of these types of questions, but the intellectual answer of it isn't usually enough to kind of get away to put that, just to tamp down that feeling that something's not quite right. So, I think, just to round out this conversation, my point number 2 over here, that there are other forms of resistance. So I'm saying that, like, for myself, there's this emotional resistance that I face. And I would describe that as, I think a lot about everything from an emotional perspective, as in, like, how do I feel? How do they feel? How do they feel about me? What can I do about that? That's kind of a form of, this is the root of social anxiety. I think I balance this out. The way I've learned to cope with it is I balance it out with my intellectual experimental side, which says things like, well, you don't really know what they think about you, so how do we find out in a way that is amusing and won't get me killed? And as I've grown older, I find that more and more things are not killing me. So I'm not dying of embarrassment. Like, as a small example, like this purple shawl thing that I bought. Like at first I was embarrassed to wear this thing out. I said, well, people think I'm wearing a shawl. Who does that person think they are to wear such a purple shawl? Man, so that's what I was thinking. Thoughts like this. And now I'm wearing it all the time because it's warm for one thing. Maybe it just had to get cold enough for me to like it. But I just like this thing. And I worry about whether or not that it was something that people would think about me in a certain way. So I'm getting more inured to that. But now I can start stepping up and wearing a shawl like this, which is like much more feminine. Like it's inherited these from somebody. And what does it say about me now? What does it say about me if I wear all these things? Actually, that's kind of interesting. I feel like a peacock. And it's amusing. Image Furniture Factory says, maybe I'm not getting enough sunlight. That's possible, too. It could be another chemical thing. It could be that it has been rather dark lately. And the cold, around this time of year, usually I get this way. But I was feeling it in the summertime, too. And it doesn't seem to feel appreciably different. But I need to, maybe I need to be a peacock more. That is true. I need to let this sort of stuff out because it makes me laugh. It makes me happy. And I never would have picked these scarves myself, but I'm growing to like these a lot. So I don't know. I guess part of the emotional part is just coming into my own as my strength and not to be embarrassed by it. So that's something that processes a lot. And I think that kind of embarrassment holds people back a lot from trying stuff. Even and it's surprising what small things that people are afraid to try. Like people are afraid to try singing in front of other people. It's like people fear judgment so much. I think this is why the kind of writing and the kind of, I guess, discussions that I do online, it appeals only to a certain percentage of the population. I would say people who are heavy emotional processors like myself, they probably draw something from me speaking about these issues candidly and without apparent embarrassment. And what gives me the courage to do that is that I know that I feel this way, and I know that in the past I've benefited from other people who have been very transparent about how they felt about it, and then it didn't make it seem weird or guilty. So if I was wearing this scarf thing, and it says, oh my God, I'm wearing this scarf, and I'm so embarrassed, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, that's not an attractive thing. But I'm saying, I like this scarf. Look at it. I mean, it's got all these patterns and stuff. And trying to let this sort of joy come out without being self-conscious about it, or being really even letting it affect who I want to be or who I am. And that's something that's very difficult to learn, and I'm still learning it. Other barriers are well, just in the lack of adaptability. Some people just are looking for a more structured solution that they know delivers a result. The kind of work that I'm doing now requires a lot of uncertainty. To be able to push through uncertainty and get to a point in which you find something out. Like, I don't know how people are going to react to wearing a scarf in public. I don't think most people will care. When I was wearing nail polish, like, no one, I think people noticed, but no one cared. And like, I remember being so worried about, like, what would people think about me? And then it turns out that they may be thinking things, but they don't have the guts to do anything about it. Or they don't care, or it doesn't matter. And the more I thought about it, the more, so why am I worried so much about these small things? Why am I worried so much about what people think about me? Adaptability, though, is, I don't know, maybe it's a lack of wanting to see things in a certain perspective. Adaptability is something that I've worked on for a very long time. Probably since I was in junior high school, and I realized that adaptability was a thing. To be able to look at a situation and then turn it upside down, turn it inside out, turn it on the side, look at it from the other side, change the rules of the game, seek the higher ground, find a way around, find a new technique. So being able to bypass any barrier has always been an challenge to me, and I found that fascinating. Is it another field of knowledge perhaps gives me a way through this conundrum? Perhaps I need to redefine the conundrum from being more of a mechanical or physical challenge into more of an emotional one, or maybe it's one of perspective, or maybe this can be done with smoke and mirrors, or maybe it's a matter of just waiting for a little bit. All these techniques and catalog that I've cataloged over the years have given me a certain measure of adaptability in facing a problem. I don't think that's an issue. Another one is a lack of ability, and that can stop people too. That ties in with maybe embarrassment, but let's consider it just lack of ability. When I say lack of ability, I mean like literally unable to do something. Like, I am too short to be a really good basketball dunker, that kind of thing. The adaptable side of me says, well, you find some other way to participate. Is it really that you want to be a basketball player and you want the glory of it? Or do you just really want to put basketballs into hoops? Because there are different solutions for that. And I suppose lack of ability also is related to being incompetent or lack of competence, or just being unsure if you can perceive it. I've decided that for me, ability is more of a sensitivity or attraction to something. This is similar to, what was that book? It's Red. Was it From Good to Great? Describing what a talent is. From what I remember, describing a talent as merely a proclivity to like something, such that you keep doing it. And the great thing about about doing something repeatedly is that you get eventually better at it. You may not become the best at it, but you will become better at it. If you do something 10 times, you'll be better on the 10th time than you were the first time. Then the next 20 times, you'll suck at it because you're overthinking how you did it the first 10 times. But then if you get to 100 times, then you're probably measurably better at that thing you did. And it's getting past that. That's uncertainty, perhaps. That's another form of resistance. Not being able to do something because you are not guaranteed a reward. And that is a form of resistance that I sometimes face. Well, I certainly face it emotionally. I don't like uncertainty. I know intellectually, I know how you get past it. You go do something, you find out what happens. It's super easy. You fail at it, you get some data. You succeed at it, maybe you've learned something. But again, going back, the resistance that I'm facing right now is just the emotional processing of things, and it's somehow sapping my ability to work on things. So having talked my head off about this, what's the takeaway? Let me try to write something down on here. But first, let me just fill out the today's ETP sheet. Let me adjust this so it's readable. There's a big shadow there. I don't think it's going to get any better. Now I can move this. Here we go. Now I'm all lit funny. Is that where this extra light is screwing me up? Ah! This thing's all crooked now. It's going to drive me crazy. Why is it crooked? I just had to move the light. Anyway, so today is, that's the wrong color temperature. There we go. Today is Friday, December 15th. I believe it is Star Wars, The Last Jedi Day. Tonight we're going to watch, me and some friends are going to rewatch The Force Awakens just to get in the mood for it. 2017. What's up, Dave? I'm not sure what to expect. I think it's 6:30 is when I'm expecting guests. What time is it now? It's 2:30? Let's say I started around, it got out of bed at 10. 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at 3 o'clock. I want to go grocery shopping. So my day ends in about, actually it ends in 30 minutes. I started this stream when here, what's up, Dave? This whole morning was lost, so I'll just draw in these thought swirly things. There must be some way of drawing a thought swirly thing that has 3 swirls in it. You can only do 2 usually. Maybe you had to go like this. It looks funny though. So that was all like, kind of like dumb time. I do want to get something done today. I guess I talked out this stuff. One thing I did do yesterday, let me go to the last thing on the list, was I was reviewing the subs I had to YouTube content creators. And the interesting thing about that was I saw the patterns in like what, you know, who had subs, who had a lot of subs, who didn't have a lot of subs. There was it fell in a few categories. Let me just see if I can look at this. Let me set this up over here. I'm opening up YouTube. Unfortunately now, like, these are the subs I have left. And let's see. Screen. Just full screen and magnify this. So who am I left following? These are people who I didn't want to unfollow. Alton Brown, crazy mad scientist, content creator, cook personality. You all know who Alton Brown is, I hope. Alyssa Tabitha. It took me a while to remember who this was. 120k subs. And I think I'm keeping her here as a reference because, like, she's a cosplayer and does a lot of interesting makeup stuff. And I'm really interested in this kind of thing right now. Who else is on the list of subs? Amy Walker, who I became aware of when she was doing accents of things. She had done like this video a long time ago, and I've just been sort of following her career arc. She has 141k subs, and so she has a love and a talent for accents, which is how I knew about her. She did that 21 accents video years and years ago. So what has she been doing over the years to, well, how has she been pursuing what her emerging passions were and turned them into a career? So she, I thought, was worth, like, still following. And I've also been seeing, like, how active people have been. You know, so keeps trying things, but I guess the ideal is to hit it big somehow. Maybe that's what people hope to do. I don't know if that's even in what I want. Brett Domino, which is a character created by Robert J. Malden, who was a musician from England. The Brett Domino trio is the interesting because of their weird, nerdy approach to making things, but it's entirely a character act. And I'm curious what this guy is doing. And so, like, I'm still subscribed to Rob J. Man, which I think is his actual self, not an alter ego, not a character. But I can't tell because he does voiceovers every time he's speaking in this. It's a different voice every time. So how is he, extremely talented musician, making his way through the world? He's got 180K subs. KSD1. When I was looking up reviews for MMORPGs, I came across this guy's reviews, which were extremely, they were subjective but yet informative. They were informed, subjective, and interesting for me to watch. You'd see just enough of the game to get a sense of what it was. You get his impressions about what it was to level up in these games. And so I'm supporting him on Patreon now. But, you know, I don't watch all these videos anymore. He's got 34K subs. So it's more intelligent content, but not something that's going to hit really huge. Christopher J. Daves explains, one of many of his online video things. This was the first blogger I ever met or ever saw online that gave me an idea that I wanted to do something along content creation. And so I just followed to see what he does. I think right now this is a new thing he's doing. He's got other channels. I unsubscribed to his other channel, which was just general stuff.
Hey there, everyone. I just wanted to give you.
Also, I don't know. So I feel kinship. So if there was like a vampire that bit me with this content creation bug, you know, be your own voice on the internet, it would be this guy and his blog, which was called. Damn it, I can't remember. I don't read blogs anymore. Maybe that's a problem. So I'm not going to go through all. Core 77, that's an industrial design site. They only have 117K subs. Creators. I'm not even sure why I'm still subbed to this. There were some interesting videos. DARPA, which is the U.S. Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, famous for inventing the internet. And occasionally, I would like to be interrupted knowing what like our military industrial complex is up to when to see what they release publicly. Like the DARPA Cheetah live fire tests. I have a fascination for things that are kind of deadly. Division 05. This is a relatively new thing, 8,000 subs. My friend Dom like turned me on to this creator, making some very interesting algorithmic. Is this the same guy I'm thinking of? Production-oriented video stuff, high-end visualization, motion graphics. Something that I used to be very interested in. Double Fine Productions. These were the first really popular Kickstarter by, what's his face? Bunch of guys who used to work on LucasArts adventure games. I can't believe I'm blanking on his name. But it's a studio that I've been following because of the creators involved and what they do. Eagle Creek makes storage cubicle things, and I'm just fascinated by that kind of stuff. MMA in Japan is sort of like someone who's very close to my heart. She's probably the most so far, with almost 1 million subscribers. You know, but she eats things like meals ready to eat, military things, weird stuff that that intrigues me also. So she's in the kindred spirit side of things. Every Frame of Painting, which has closed down, an excellent series of video essays about film. Extra credits. Why am I so subscribed to these things? Sometimes these guys are interesting. They deconstruct video games and other media. Which reminds me, why am I not seeing... When I was going through this list, some of the things were not showing up. There's a few gun-related websites, some people that I know. I don't even know what this is. Oh, this is someone who makes calculators. Makes music with calculators. It's amazing. Jack Conti, 322k subs. He's like indie Jesus to me. I'm still subscribed to this Wushu Master, although she never posts anything. Jersey Joe, Droz, I can never pronounce that. John Ballantree, two people that I've come in contact. John Su, my cousin. Kinesis Gaming, another friend, Kitsune Hazard. Nora Music, Lindsay Ellis, Living Pink. These are people who just fascinate me. Lindsay does like amazing deconstructions of pop culture. Live in Pink Genevieve Forget. She is a producer, video game producer, who I like her glasses a lot. Louis Cole Music, part of Nowhere Lumi. They make packaging for online brands, which is something I'm always interested. Macy J is a Rainbow Six Siege player. Mental Floss has a bunch of fun, weird videos of an eclectic nature. Michael Ballar, another person I know, jazz musician, nerd writer, 1.9 million subs. Does excellent content on anything he wants to, in a way kind of I guess, goals. I would like to get to the point when I'm making content like that, but I haven't gotten to that point when I'm editing and creating things. Let's see, number file. Like, numbers fascinates me. I'm terrible at math, but I wish I knew more about the underlying theory and some of the weird things that math is about. The ham sandwich problem. See, I'm intrigued. Pop culture detective. I forget who that is. PBS Digital Studios. Occasionally they were producing content that was interesting. They were on the verge of me unsubscribing from them. But this is kind of a gateway content trove that I was intending to look at. Potter Puppet Pals, because I just love Potter Puppet Pals, even though they haven't produced very much lately. Who's Pop Culture Detective? This is part of Anita Sarkeesian's group, I think. Pretty simple music. This one was, I'm interested in learning how to play piano using patterns. And this was an example music site in which they were showing things like chord transitions and so on. You know, so this is my music, one of my music theory things that I'm trying to learn. Propellerhead Software makes EDM production stuff. I've been buying their stuff since the late 90s because of their software design was so outstanding. And I also use it for creating podcasts. Rainbow Six Pro League. This is the one game I seem to be following. Rocket Jump, biggest at 7.9 million. These are video producer guys, and they also, I think, do the video game, the film school thing. You know, this one I saw recently was this video essay on how Star Wars, the original movie, was saved in the edit.
Long time ago.
Video editing was something that's like intriguing. Plus, these guys made a video game high school, which is close to me. Scary Pockets is a kind of a funk EDM band, and it's from Jack Conti, who again is indie Jesus to me, and it's just fun music, the type I like. Serenity 17 is a Rainbow Six Siege player who I find, his videos were some of the first really good ones, very personable. Smarter Every Day, something I probably should like. Biggest so far at 5.2 million subs. This is content that people that are of a more broad appeal. Similar in the vein to the Mental Floss site, but a little bit more in depth. I'm surprised that Vox isn't on this list. Springfield Armory, they're a gun manufacturer. Star Citizen, a video game that I've been watching for some time. Super Bunny Hop, and more weird video game content. Street piano videos. Taiwan Cooking. Tastemade, I have no idea what this is anymore. What is this? Food, travel together. Asian flavored fun food things, I think. Japanese? This doesn't look relatively. Oh, is this the cooking with dog people? Anyway, so that was just a fun one that I liked. Tested. guitarpreneur page. This is someone who had started following me, and I looked at his page, and it was super awesome, so I started following it. The RSA is the Royal. This is the Royal Society for whatever artists. This is RSA. It's that old time British Discovery Society, and I didn't know they were still around, and they release things. At least I think they do. The Templin Institute, they make very interesting motion graphics that explain things. You know, for example, they have this one. We can just look at it. The First Order. The video production quality on this is very high. So they have this intro, and I love screen graphics that are like this. So they're doing all this fancy graphic stuff. Oops, that's my alarm. That's not the video. And they're just taking media and they're putting it together into a presentation. Look, the motion graphics are great for something like this. Although the text alarm on that is not so good. Look at this HUD design here. That's gorgeous.
The reign of the first.
Yeah. I think we're getting down to the end. Maybe. I think that's about all of them. I don't know how to go through all of these things. Who the hell is this, though? So some of these I missed in the first pass through. I'll look through the rest of these some other time. But I did call quite a lot of stuff out of here. There is Vox, good. Before, there were other, like, people that were... Oh, I can probably look at my history and see. I was, like, looking at stuff. There's all the way America Got Talent stuff. Let's see. Joey Alexander, for example. This was someone who was... I guess I had come across this little kid that was doing jazz, really high-level jazz piano playing, and I followed him because I was just wanted to not forget. But then I realized I'm never going to look at it again, so I unsubbed. You know, nothing personal. Did I unsub this guy? No, I didn't. This guy makes amazing, like, wooden rubber band guns. So I guess there are a few things that I'm following just because I really, really like their work. But the overall result is like, now I have a subscribe list, and I have a sense of like how popular things are, and I'm getting a sense of like, you know, where my weird niche content will fit into the grand scheme of things. Oh, Townsend's, someone who recognizes it. There's some good stuff in here. And so maybe another way of looking at the subs is like, how do I fit into this group? You know, before there were blog networks that gave me an idea about who was doing what of interest, using the same principles or having similar principles to me. And since then I've been lost. I've been kind of floundering around, so kind of regrounding myself and figuring out who's making stuff that I really respect. And then what kind of stuff can I do to contribute to that pile of cool stuff? I guess I have my productivity tools, and I'm sort of feeling my way out with these videos and just talking about stuff that's on my mind. Maybe I'll get good at this someday. You know, but being a conduit for things that I like, being able to share techniques and, I don't know, insights, and maybe even just creating that sense of community with people is like maybe what I'm really about. And I suspect that's important to me. Anyway, I need to get to the supermarket now. So that's today's What's Up, Dave. Hope you enjoyed listening to me prattle on. And I guess this is Friday, so next time I'll see you is on Monday, unless I do a happy bubble time puttering thing later today or over the weekend. I'd like to do one. That would be nice. I don't know what it will be, but maybe something will come to mind. So happy Friday. Go see The Last Jedi. That's what I'm going to do on not next Thursday or something like that. So, I don't know. Stay warm. Talk to you soon. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Boo.